Imagine living in a country squeezed between two giants. Russia to the north, China to the south. That's Mongolia. With no access to the sea and surrounded by superpowers, survival is not easy. Yet Mongolia has mastered the art of balance, trading minerals with China, securing energy from Russia, and leaning on global allies like the US for independence. It is a modern survival story of strategy, resilience, and identity. This is the surprising story of how Mongolia survives between two giants, Russia and China. Let's break everything down. The geography advantage. First, let's clear up a big misconception. People think of Mongolia as a small, fragile country stuck in the middle of nowhere. But actually, Mongolia is massive. It's the 18th largest country in the world, bigger than Germany, Italy, and the UK combined. It's even larger than Japan and France. But here's the twist. Only about 3.4 million people live there. That's less than the population of some single cities in China. So how does a huge but sparsely populated country stay independent when surrounded by superpowers? The answer starts with the land itself. Mongolia is harsh. It's a country of cold deserts, rugged mountains, and endless grasslands. In winter, temperatures regularly drop below minus 30 degrees Celsius, and the Gobi Desert makes any military conquest a logistical nightmare. Throughout history, Mongolia has been hard to invade, and even harder to hold, that isolation. It's actually Mongolia's secret weapon, the Empire legacy. But there's more to the story than just geography. Remember, Mongolia isn't just any landlocked country. It used to be the heart of the largest contiguous empire in world history. Yes, we're talking about Genghis Khan and the Mongol Empire, which once stretched from the Korean peninsula all the way to Eastern Europe. So Mongolia has a long tradition of domination, not submission. But of course, times changed. By the 20th century, Mongolia found itself stuck between Imperial Russia and Qing Dynasty China, independence and survival. The turning point came in 1911 when the Qing Dynasty collapsed. Mongolia seized the moment and declared independence from China. China didn't like it. Russia wasn't thrilled either, but they were too distracted to stop it. In the 1920s, Mongolia became a Soviet-backed communist state, following Moscow's lead for most of the 20th century. And for decades, Mongolia was essentially a Soviet satellite nation, completely dependent on the USSR. But then, the Soviet Union collapsed in 1991. So what did Mongolia do? It made a bold decision. Choose democracy, choose neutrality, and don't take sides. The third neighbor strategy. Mongolia adopted a clever foreign policy called the third neighbor strategy. What does that mean? Basically, it tries to keep good relations with both Russia and China, while also building ties with other global powers like the US, Japan, South Korea, and the European Union. This balancing act lets Mongolia maintain independence without angering either of its massive neighbors. Today, Mongolia relies on China for trade, since most of its exports, like copper and coal, head south to Chinese markets. But at the same time, it relies on Russia for energy, especially for things like gasoline and oil. Mongolia has mastered the art of diplomatic balance. It's like walking a tightrope between two elephants. And somehow, Mongolia is still standing. So why hasn't Mongolia been taken over by Russia or China? Because it's too difficult to conquer, too smart to pick sides, and too strategic to ignore. Mongolia's survival isn't just about borders or history. It's about mastering neutrality and knowing when to make the right alliances. And in a world where the small often get crushed by the big, Mongolia shows us that sometimes staying in the middle is exactly the right place to be. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below. What other surprising stories of survival should we cover next? Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.